Depending on the number of the years you spend on Earth and the experience you fill those years with, you might have different answers to this question, and I have my own. So for the most part of my life, I've always believed that I have much power of it. I can choose to be whoever I want. I can choose my friends. I can choose other people to hang out with. I can choose the books I want to read, and so on. But when it came to bigger things, I kind of saw and felt like it is out of my control and I can't change its direction to where I want it to. However, I never let go of the feeling or belief, you name it, that life is still under my control. Somehow, I didn't need to ponder about it or go further analyzing every step I took. Rather, I looked at it from a perspective where I could see all of those. I came to terms with all those people who claimed before me, and I agreed with them when they say, we are in control of our lives by being in control of our attitude and reactions towards anything that happens, or something like this. Now, I don't mean gaining success or accomplishing our goals that we set when I say control. Actually, I mean much more than that. It's an obvious fact that success doesn't depend on us 100%. We have the control to change our attitude and perspectives for whatever we encounter in life. Not everything we stumble upon in life must be pleasant, but even deciding what is pleasant and not is under our control to some extent. For example, if I spend a day doing only everything I love on the internet, watching my favorite TV series, reading, writing, and so on, then if suddenly the internet's cut off or something happens and I don't have the access to the online world anymore, I get to choose to react in two different ways, roughly. First, I might be frustrated and complain about the situation and lie in bed, anxious, sad, and angry. Or I might remind myself that years ago, people spent their whole lives like that so that I can spend a couple of hours too. I can read books, play piano, or even just meditate or take a walk. Now, of course, there are endless options to react, but that's not the point. This decision happens so quickly sometimes that we are not even aware of making a decision in the first place. Then I think choosing the way to react is some kind of a habit, and taking control of our lives back is eventually a routine itself. Focusing on our lives, getting back on track again and again after a setback can feel like a control and boost our willpower. But one thing I believe some people tend to underestimate in general when it comes to directing their lives is the power of repetition. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the process of our brain developing a new habit and how little willpower is needed after it is done successfully. But what does it have to do with our reactions? Can our reactions be tamed, really? In fact, everything can be developed as a habit, from tying our shoes to dealing with negative emotions, even hanging on to our attitudes. Simply put, our brains love repetitions and customs, which means once we cultivate a certain ways of dealing with issues or problems, we tend to apply it all throughout our lives until we stop and ask ourselves, is this the only way possible? In this way, we give ourselves an opportunity to search, and if we're lucky, to find other ways of tackling. This usually manifests itself as emotions in the beginning. I imagine this as a bubble. Our emotions cover a problem, and because of the type of bubble, in this case emotions, we cultivate a state of mind. For instance, if we are passionate about writing and psychology, and if we have to write an essay about psychology of children, we have to research it. This research and writing that article is something we have to deal with. But because those are the things that we love and are passionate about, it doesn't feel like a problem at all. And through time, after a period of researching different topics, writing different essays, when a new idea emerges, we don't even see them as something we have to deal with anymore. They feel like something we do on a regular basis, like a habit. So with all that being said, it all comes down to the initial emotion we had towards that problem. I know you might be wondering what does it have to do with bigger life problems, but here is the bottom line. We perceive the outcome of all the processes taking place in our lives based on our perceptions, which derive from the very first emotions we had connected them with. And maybe unconsciously we link those emotions to certain things or activities at some point in our lives for the first time. So to wrap up, I would love to point out the fact that maybe life throws unexpected things our way once in a while, if not often, but adapting to the nature of the change, which is also changeable, is the ultimate and the utmost control we would want to have. Next time when something you didn't imagine or expected happens, don't force yourself into thinking positively. Just for a couple of seconds, try to stay neutral and be conscious of the reaction you have to offer to the situation. This will take time and probably it will require some willpower, but you will definitely get better at controlling your attitude, thus controlling your life.